Hi guys, I've shifted the camera to a bigger room to be able to show you the process of preparing the basic board for the Sea-Scape I will be placing the Admiral Graf Spee in. Before turning my attention to doing that work, I would very much ask you to be really careful if you do things like that. You know, health and security. Please use protective gloves, ear protection, sexy protective glasses, very important of course, and always be careful with the things you do. The first step of preparing the basic seaboard is taking a commercial piece of shelf wood. This is not plywood really, but it's glued together bits of wood, so this should be stable enough to carry anything. It shouldn't wrap. It's 18 millimeters wide, 200 millimeters in depth, and 800 millimeters long, which is just enough for the Admiral Graf Spee. How I get to the conclusion that this is enough for the Admiral Graf Spee, I will be telling you while I'm in the process of routing this board into shape as a Sea-Scape. Of course, for routing you need a router. Electrical equipment, handheld equipment with a rotary cutter that will put the board edges into shape, very similar to a picture frame. That's the word. Alright, so this is a rotary tool, so please be careful when you use them and use good tools. Please always use good tools. Good tools prompt proper results. Cheap tools usually are an annoyance in the end. Alright, so be careful what you do, and I'll be showing you or be telling you what I was thinking when I selected this particular board for my Admiral Graf Spee. Several aspects of influence on the size of the base. Shelf space, for example, is certainly one of these, and of course the action you want to show. If you are free of space limitations, I found the following to work best for the presentation of a ship running at a low to moderate speed with no other object sharing the scene. This is your ship model. Measure its overall length. Now divide the length by 5. Add 3 fill to the length of the hull to determine the length of the base. One section will show water in front. 2 sections will show water above the hull. Of course, this is no science, so you don't have to be exact. The Graf Spee is about 52 centimeters long, so the base should be 83 centimeters. However, the shelf boards at my local hardware store measure 80 centimeters, which makes buying these the most economic choice. As the width of the base should not exceed 3 to 4 times the beam of the ship, the given 20 centimeters on the shelf size of my board was just perfect. Please be reminded that this is all based on my feeling of what looks right. You should always check what works for you best. During the process of routing the base board, the camera ran out of battery, so the whole process isn't on show, but this is the result I wanted to show you. This is without further working the edges. This is just what the router does with your board. You can see it's a nice even edge, and you can do these, of course, or you can have them done at a local wood shop, but I found that putting in the investment for the handheld router saved me a lot of money over time. It was just not that big of an investment. Next thing you need to do after routing the edges is take in piece of sanding paper and break off the edges so that there is no residue and no uneven parts. Of course, the wood isn't all that super even as you would probably expect from a professional routing process, but this is homemade handheld stuff, and so this has a certain charm to it, but that's the best you can do, and it does save you a lot of money by not having it done but doing it yourself. Okay, further, the board needs to be smoothed down. This came from the hardware store with a cover of protective wax, which needed to be sanded off, and that will be the next thing to do before we actually turn our attention to placing the model onto this board. For this, I will see you in a bit. Bye bye. Okay, so we are back again. The board is all smoothed over, all the wax and everything is off. I have cleaned off all the edges, and the board is basically prepared to be processed into a water base. First decision we have to take is to determine if we want the water to go right to the edge, or if there should be a little bit of wood open around the edges. That's a matter of taste, simply, so there's no debating about it. Everyone has his own. So I prefer to have a little wood going around the water base, so I'll be using good old 1 centimeter, 10 millimeter Tamiya tape to determine a clean edge for the water base. Now it's a different brand of cheaper tape to protect the edges. To do all this with Tamiya tape would be quite too expensive, so I'm using regular painter's quality masking tape to protect the woodwork. All right, the wife is called out to dinner, so I'll be taking a break. See you in a bit. With all the masking on the board done, it is time to position the hull. I have once again removed the turrets. As you may be able to remember, I have drilled holes into the bottom plate to be able to fix the ship to the board. As a rule of the thumb, the ship hull should not be posed like this on the basic board because it just doesn't seem too natural. It should always be placed at an odd angle of about 5 degrees at least. And now, as mentioned earlier, I'm placing the ship so there's about 1/5 or 1/8 of the total length in front of the ship and 2/8 on the back. That is due to the fact that the running vessel will create effects on the water that should be made visible to give a more dynamic appearance. But we'll come to that later on. You should take your time positioning the hull. It should be nicely centered. Yeah. All right, and now I'm just taking a pointy object to mark the position for the screws that will hold the model down. These will have to be drilled now. See you in a bit. The holes for positioning the hull have been drilled, and to make fixing the hull easy, I put in the screws which will finally hold down the hull. I put them in and out a couple of times to soften up the wood and make fixing the kit more easily. Of course, the screws shouldn't be too long, so they should not go all the way through the wood. They just should be long enough to hold down the hull. Now here comes the test fitting. There you go. There should be no pressure applied when putting down the hull at this point. Okay. As a next step, I will be tracing the hull outline. But I can see that the camera is running out of battery again, so it's charging time. So see you in a bit. Bye. All right, back again. The hull is firmly placed on the board, and to be able to mark the waves properly, I'll trace the hull with a soft pencil as the waterline is marked down with black paint. The pencil should not really show, but anyway, even if it would show just a little bit, it should be not a problem, because in the end the surface finish will be connecting the hull firmly to the Sea-Scape. Okay, now with the hull outline traced, I can put the hull back into storage to protect it from all harm until I have finished the Sea-Scape. Okay, I forgot my pliers. Gotta go and get them. Just a minute. Okay, this is going to be put aside so no harm may come to it. Okay, unfortunately for you, on the video the outline won't probably show very nicely, but this is just a guideline to help me set up the basic shape for the Sea-Scape. A hull moving through water does create certain wave patterns. There's a whole science behind it, but there's just a few basic things I will put into play here, because my ship will be running on a very smooth and even surface. To show you what I will be doing is I just give you an idea about the hull tip, and since my vessel will be running at a slow speed, the angle of the waves should be pretty wide. Here is the outline of the hull at about midships, and from here the hull will be dragging a big transverse wave, which should be running at a somewhat even flatter angle. As well, around the stern, in the area of the propeller, there will be water agitated by the propellers, and there will be another transverse wave running right behind the ship, around here. I don't know if this shows well on the video now, so just to give you an idea about how this should look. And now these wave patterns I will mold with some blue tack. You can use all types of plasticine or molding clay or whatever floats your boat. Just as the basic Sea-Scape will be very even and calm water, the structures, the wave structures, should not be too pronounced. Of course, the ship will be running a bow wave. The sculpting knife will help to shape and fix the blue tack. And remember, the ship is running at a low speed, so the waves should not be that high at all. So remember, even 2 millimeters on the model here will scale out into 700 millimeters on the real ship. So that's about a little less than 2 foot wave or wake, and that's pretty big already. So don't overdo this. Okay, I will be repeating the process, and this will be shown sped up on the video. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at what the base board looks like right now. This is all there's to it right now. And the next step, we'll just be using regular aluminum foil . Just enough to cover the base. Now for the basic wave shapes and water structure. Just take the aluminum foil, take off any rings or watches you have, and you just rub it between your hands. Don't create any creases. Now with that done, I'm applying a liberal, let's just dry it out. I'm applying a liberal amount of white glue on the board. Oops, I'll be needing more, I guess. Now I'm taking a cheap wide brush, put the aluminum foil on top, and then work the aluminum foil from the inside to the outside. This needs good drying time. Just let's have a look at it one more time. Come up close, and this will need to dry for about a day. All right, this is it for today. I'll be coming back to you as soon as all this is ready to process. See you in a bit.